Hello and good morning, you freaks. I hope you're having a great week. That kind of rhymes. It is kind of freak nation, freak town, because it's what? As I'm filming this, it's October 23rd, so Halloween is literally right around the corner. That's crazy town. Halloween Town, I need to watch that movie, oh my god. I just want to hang out and catch up this week and just give a raw, honest update. I'm about to make some breakfast of where I've been at recently, which starts with our potato bowl, which is extended potato bowl, etc. Which is actually because of a positive thing. Hello, let's give our positive lighting. It's because food has steadily been getting increased. So I used to get those mini potatoes, you guys remember? I still get the mini white ones, but the mini, because they're like these little like yammies. Sweet yams, they're smaller. Usually each one is like 100 to 150 gramos, okay? Which is served me in a different time, but we're at a certain time in my life where my potato in the morning gets to be 200 grams. We're just collecting our little trinkets and points, by the way, our little breakfast items here while we get started for the day. First of all, this is my Adam Sandler fit, by the way. I think we need to actually start here. This is what we're wearing. So we have, these are actually from DFYNE. I just like never wear them because I feel like they're kind of like long, but they're really comfy. With this shirt that I got when I did a turkey trot with Nick last year. And then my sister's slippers that are from Lauren Conrad that have matched socks. But these socks have gourds on them. You can't really see that. That's how we are coming into our day. Happy Thursday, crew. Happy freaking Thursday. Prep is the quintessential, I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, description of you're doing the same shit every day. And I love that routine, and that's something that honestly gives me a lot of structure and helps me a ton. But it's hard because I sometimes feel like, okay, from a content perspective, I am literally doing the same shit every single day. There's nothing new with me. I'm getting my kimchi out, I'm getting my eggs out. There is no like crazy thing. So I was feeling a little bit of shame. Okay, am I gonna do another weekly vlog with this prep? Like, is this old for people? Like, I love it and I get excited about it, but it's the same shit. How can I formulate this in a way that is just more interesting and just getting way too in my head about content? And I've been quite in my head about content recently of feeling like what I'm doing isn't good or like that it's not enough or that I could always be doing better. Was journaling about it last night and I remembered, oh wait, this is something I started because I love it, because I love creating content. It's not about what other people think of what I am doing. So when I sat with what I genuinely wanted to create this morning, it's just an honest, raw update of how I have been, some of the thoughts that I'm having, and how I'm navigating that. Because I recognize by the time that I put this out, it'll be almost daylight savings time, and I really struggle this time of year. And I've been feeling that recently. It's not always some peppy two shoes or whatever. I can't see what I'm doing when it comes to breakfast, and I'm so freaking sorry about that. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. I don't really know what's going on, guys. There's no organization, and there doesn't need to be. You know what I'm saying? We are still on no cardio, and we are less than a month out at this point, which is crazy to say. Food is steadily increasing, very slow, slight changes every single check-in, which has been amazing. I'm definitely, enjoying that. I feel more energized, I feel more present, and my routine every single day has looked very different than what this first prep was, and it's hard for me to come to terms with the fact that this is still prep. I know that I am still in prep, but it just doesn't feel like it, or I feel like I can't say that I am because you're only in prep if you have cardio, fasted cardio in the morning. Which is not true. Like, that's literally, like, these beliefs are not true. Where did you learn that, girl? Always get curious about yourself. Where did you learn that? I don't know. But because it's so much calmer this go round, I've been more in my head about if I'm doing enough and if this is right, and I'm waiting for it to get bad, and I'm just noticing I'm more anxious. And I don't need to be more anxious. So I've been trying to really focus on my stress reduction and just being calm with myself and letting myself enjoy letting this phase be what it is. Remembering also, like, that's why you work with a coach, is because they tell you what you need to do and you just do it. Like, it's really not that deep, girl. But I feel this nervousness. My dog just want to go outside. Let's go around the bend. What a mess. No, it's not. Come on, this way. Yay. I'm in my head constantly about if I am doing the right thing, if I'm doing enough, if protocol is gonna get worse, if I'm interesting enough. I'm just feeling very anxious, and not even just in a prep way. For anybody else who's struggling out there, I want to share some of my tips, some things that help me get through really hard days, because I've been having them recently. Part of that is because this feels so much more like a hobby, and I've recognized that, like, it's not your whole life and it's just something that you get to do kind of on the sideline. It's put sort of this mirror, I guess, up to, okay, so if this is a hobby, what else do you have? What else are you focusing on? It's easy to get very sad if you don't feel like you have anything else, you know? And so I'm trying to really enrich the other parts of my life and focus on those things, and it's felt like such a weird change of pace to have the energy even to like be with my family and not feel like I need to be, okay, I need to muster up the energy to be around these other people. Hope actually posted a video where she was talking about like the things that she doesn't miss from her bodybuilding prep. I don't remember if I took this or not, guys, so I'm just gonna take it. And one of the things was feeling like you have to be ready for like social events. Like you wanna be there mentally, but you have to sit there and like put on your quote unquote mask. She's described it in a much better way than what I just said. I didn't even realize how low energy I was until I've been sitting with this contrast of the second prep. I'll be able to do things spontaneously, and like my mom will want to go to the store and I'll like talk to her on the way there and not just sit there and feel like I have nothing to say. Like I feel a lot more by myself because I mean, food is higher, hello, like energy is just up generally, which has been awesome. So I assume that would mean, okay, why am I still feeling kind of lower and whatever? And the first tip is just to consider all of the variables that are. Because while yes, my protocol has changed a good bit and my food is up and that's great, and you know, we haven't been implementing cardio, which is gonna technically be adding energy to me in a way, like I'm not expending more. I am still in prep. I need to validate myself that I am still in bodybuilding prep, even if I don't feel like it is, even if I don't feel like it's hard enough to be that. Like it's okay if it's not hell. Like yay, hello. I made a podcast episode a while ago basically asking, who are you without stress? And I think that's what's been so hard for me this go round. I am not as stressed as I used to be. You would hear that and think, yay. But I'm recognizing how much I almost made that part of my identity, relied almost on it to give me structure of like, okay, well, not that I ever went into a day of like, how can I stress myself out today? Because that doesn't sound very kind, hello, to me. What? Hey, why are you doing that to my girl Haley? I really love and respect her, thank you. I didn't have the space mentally to really think about how I was feeling, about the other things in my life, because I was just kind of in such a zone. And now that we've relaxed our perspective on these things, which is very exciting and a positive thing, oh, like I have been really neglecting pouring into the other parts of myself, the other facets of myself. And to give yourself that space can feel kind of scary when you haven't had it for a while. You know, who are you when none of these things matter, when you get everything done, when your day isn't this crazy stride of, can I fit everything in time? The more relaxed that I've been about my capabilities, it's almost like I'm more anxious about the what if, because I have the space to think about that. Does that make any sense? Guys, does that make any sense? I don't know. I've been learning how much more flexibility I have in my day-to-day routine, where I'm able to do things in different ways. And another tip is, if you are going through a rut, change something, have some kind of change in your routine. For me, changing my split has made the biggest difference in just how I feel with my training, or, you know, my morning routine has looked a lot different. I'm not starting my day in as much of a stressful state with my cardio as of right now, but also changing the way that you're viewing things. I was viewing, you know, time, and I have a whole podcast episode about time that I would really recommend you guys listen to. Ness on Spotify and Apple. I really pour a lot into it, but making time out to be something that was ruling me. You are on a pumpkin spice candle and I hope you don't fall. Hey, if it's 2 o'clock, I have to stop whatever I'm doing. Not hot enough pan, but that's okay. We're saving our egg bowl still. Not much has changed. Okay, we're talking about change, but we're still the same bitch. I was watching a Tana Mojo video a while ago where she was saying like things that she's learned through being 30 or something, 27. I think it was 20, is she not 30? I have no idea. I feel like she's been here for like forever, but like, I mean that in a kind way. I don't mean to be mean. She said sometimes when you're born on a roller coaster, you need to learn to get off. And that reminds me of something I learned through a book called Maybe You Need to Talk to Somebody, or Maybe You Should Talk to Somebody. It's a really good book by Lori. It's like Gottlieb. I am mispronouncing that. I think you have to, if you look up the title, it'll come up. It's a big blue book. And she talks about how with relationship preferences, if you have only ever been in toxic relationships, that is what you have learned love is. And so what happens is if you go into a secure relationship, there's just no chemistry. It's really boring. And I don't think this is the right person for me because like, it's just very boring. It's not that that person is necessarily wrong for you. It's that you're just so used to chaos that when you get something good, you don't know how to receive it. You've never been taught how to receive it, aren't used to it. It's gonna feel scary and foreign. People, unfortunately, choose familiar hell over unfamiliar heaven. Some of the thoughts that I was having these past couple of days when I was in a really dark spot of like, is this really all life is? And like, I did everything I need to do and I don't have any other things that I finished everything and is this really it? It's realizing, hey, maybe life really is that sweet and good, and maybe things can be the mundane. I don't want to say boring, but like that can be something that is good, you know? Just because I'm so used to things being hard doesn't mean that's the only way for them to be. And so in moments where I, you know, finish things early or I have more free time, instead of in the past, I would have used that to like, okay, how can I work ahead of time? How can I freakishly use this time? It's like, no, you can also just enjoy it and slow down. And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. I'm just not used to what it feels like to be able, that sounds so dramatic, but I'm just getting used to this new routine, what it feels like to not be so stressed out, to reap the rewards of the hard work that I have poured into myself as a person. I don't even just mean like in bodybuilding. I just mean like as an individual. If things are calm and quiet, that doesn't mean that they're boring or that you're unfulfilled and that you're dull. Can we reframe those thoughts to think maybe life can just be that mundane, slow, warm, patient pace? It's a weird thing to almost have a preference for things to be harder just because it gives you, I guess, a controlled source of pain or something like that. I don't really know, but I'm just trying to take things day by day and admit that, hey, yeah, I get a slow morning and that's okay. Even right now as I'm filming, I'm getting a little bit anxious about, okay, were those clips what I really wanted to say, and is this good enough? And I really think about the perfect thing, and it's like, this is just things that I combat. And I think for a while I was almost using prep as something to not mask. It's something, it's your whole day. I mean, you're constantly monitoring what you need to be doing at this time and this time. It's so structured, or I didn't really have as much space to think about like the other things. So I also recognize that I might be not even more anxious than I was, but I just have space to recognize it now, and learning how to regulate, learning how to work through those emotions. And at the end of the day, if you're going through a really hard time, we're asking the questions, okay, how am I going to get through this? It's proactive, not reactive, right? Where in the past, it would be maybe a reaction of like, okay, you know, what do I do about this? And assuming that it would take me out and end me. Whereas now I'm asking questions like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? It's very much, what can we do? What plan can we make? How can we get through that? And a lot of that is just pouring into your mundane shit, letting that be good, recognizing all the beautiful things around you, right? Being present. I'm about to eat this in my solitude, like no filming anything, just quiet, present with my food, present with myself. And I think a lot of people use coping mechanisms because they don't know how to cope with their feelings. Like, what happens when you just sit with yourself in a quiet room? What does your brain look like? You know, and if those are negative thoughts, like, sorry, but we got to sit with them more often. And so we're able to learn, okay, what is really bothering me right now? To consider all of my variables. We're at a pretty low body fat. That's gonna make you hormonally a little bit more susceptible to feeling irritable, feeling overwhelmed. Time of year isn't optimal for me when it comes to the seasons changing, and I have been taking my vitamin D, using my sunlight lamp, getting outside, getting movement, things like that, nutritious meals, okay? And I'm a human being. You don't need to be in a good mood to continue being here all the time. You don't need to be feeling happy 24/7 in order to keep going. It's unrealistic to assume that you're gonna be on 24/7, always elated, always in this beautiful positive mindset. And if you are in moments that directly contrast that, that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. You're just being a human who's fluctuating. And the only way for that fluctuation to get out of its flow is by sticking with it, getting through the day, journaling, sitting with yourself, figuring out what it is that you need to pay some more attention to, and getting through to the next day, because that next day gives you this opportunity for it to be different. And things can't get better if you quit. When you go through something for the first time, it's very natural to have doubt. Really felt how much self-doubt I had in my first one, because so much of my day was crafted around, am I gonna be pushing enough? I need to make sure that I do everything to be as preservant of my energy for my lifts to be strong enough, and am I gonna train okay, and how's my training gonna go, and how's my cardio gonna go this morning? And it was just all of these questions, and this just built up, bottled up anxiety. And I really think that I truly just have felt what it feels like to trust myself now, and I don't feel a pressure to need things to be perfect in order to put my best foot forward. It's oddly weird. That used to be what so much of my thoughts were centered around. And now that those thoughts don't concern me anymore, I have so much space to think about other things, which is great. Probably why I've been feeling a little bit more down. It can feel boring to have to go from such a chaotic state to such a calmer one, even though we're still practicing like relatively the same habits, and like it's just a change in intensity and amount. Initially feels a little bit kind of weird, and I'm trying to sit with the weird and find a new spunk and you know, enjoy the time with myself and not feel like I need to fill it with more stress, because that's not gonna be better. It's just by stressing myself. Like, why would you do that? When people talk about reverses being challenging, I thought they meant like in a body fat way, like to see yourself change. And I know that this reverse maybe doesn't count quite yet because I'm not like reversing for real, because we are still going into the second show, but I have no problem with putting on tissue. Like, when it comes to a growth phase, babe, double it and give it to me, because I like really, I'm so excited for that. But I think it's more the mental of taking your foot off the gas when you're so used to going like full speed mode all the time. I have such a tendency to make things hard for myself, to use that to fill my, it's a coping mechanism, to fill your thoughts, you know, just same as like overworking yourself or, you know, any kind of thing. It gives you, it fills a void that you can't sit with. I have a hard time believing that my life is as good and as beautiful as it truly is. I've been journaling a lot about that. I think I'm having like a spiritual intervention. I don't know, guys. Please don't psychoanalyze me. I'll do it for you. Like, I feel like everything I do needs to be really impressive or hard to be worth it. That's not true. That's literally not true. And to force myself to enjoy a different phase and to see, hey, this is actually what you're supposed to be doing. It kind of feels like, what are you talking about? Like, are you sure? Can we get a double check on that? Like, I don't really know. That lack of guidance and being able to really exercise your free will has been feeling very interesting to me. It's a positive thing overall. I'm closing my eyes because it's so damn bright, by the way, so you don't care. You literally don't care. I feel negative about it because I'm realizing, damn girl, like I've never given myself the space to do that. I'm so used to things being chaotic. To have goals be just things that are going on in the background, it puts a spotlight of, okay, if that's something that's just a hobby or just like in the background, what else are you working towards? And I really didn't realize how much I was kind of using it as something to make my everything and make my every thought. Now that I have more space, that's exciting to be able to pour into other things, but I'm just realizing how much I neglected the other things in my life. You know, my creative hobbies, I've been thinking about getting into air clay, I've been coloring, adding plants, and just enjoying these other facets of myself, and it oddly feels like I shouldn't be doing that, because I'm like, okay, but if I enjoy this too much, then is that going to take away from my other basket of like, is my prep going to go worse because I'm like having fun? No. You're allowed to feel good and enjoy your routine. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong. And I don't know where I learned that I am not allowed to enjoy or that things have to be harder. I think I just made a lot of progress in very hard pursuits. And so that can be a very easy little pathway to have created in my mind. But we're unlearning that. We're unlearning that things don't always have to be the hard thing. And sometimes the right answer or what is for you looks different. Life is both the most exciting thing ever and kind of boring. And I mean boring with a positive connotation of like when you're sitting in a beautiful day and I've done everything I need to do and I've worked hard where I need to and I've enjoyed where I need to, like it gives you space to question like, well, what's the point of everything? And I don't have the answer for that. I'm working through that. I don't know. But right now it's just to enjoy, to not overly stress myself out for literally no reason. I'm waiting for my chicken to finish up cooking, in which I am cooking up the ugly way, which is just broiled in the oven, plain. I still love this process and I love this sport and I love, you know, my life. And I feel like I like some of those clips and I was editing it today and I was like, damn, I was like kind of in a really negative headspace, but that's okay. And I want the biggest takeaway for you guys here is I still have these thoughts while I do those things, right? That doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. You're just a normal human who's having, you know, hard times, and that's okay. And you can think about certain things maybe in a negative light if that's what's coming up for you, while you trust the process, while you continue doing those things, you know. And these things are feelings that I just process as I continue my routine, and that's what consistency is. That's how you create that discipline over time. You know, just because I struggle sometimes doesn't mean that I just throw out my white flag and give up. I acknowledge the feelings for what they are. I try to learn what I can from them, and I keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I can think about how I don't understand why, you know, my meal plan is feeling hard one day while my chicken is cooking, you know, or why my energy is low while I'm on the Stairmaster. These are things that I coexist with, and, you know, it's a normal part of the process. This is, again, I know I talk a lot about with prep, that being my first experience. This is also my first reverse. So even though it's not quite the same thing as a typical reverse, right now, just because we are reversing into another show versus just reversing into lifestyle and going into an improvement season. It's still my first time, and so for me to feel down, that's okay. And you can still feel those things while you continue onward, and I want you to continue onward in your life because it's also our first time being a human. So if you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling low, give yourself space for that. It's okay. It feels twice as hard when you only set this expectation that you can be happy 24/7. That's just unrealistic. And so as we navigate either this phase or these months together of, you know, getting colder or whatever that is, allow yourself some space to just be a person. I feel much better than I was when I was in that headspace filming yesterday, and I just want you guys to remember that you can do hard things. The only way out is through, and if you give yourself the opportunity of another beautiful day, of another weeks, months into a process, that is how that process can continue to serve you, and you can see all those new opportunities and reap those rewards. You know what I mean? So stick the course, besties. We are in it together. I love you guys so incredibly much. I hope that you enjoyed this little catch-up sesh, okay? Things are not permanent enough. Nothing in this life is to hurt you forever. So I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in next week's video. Go get big.